right. Okay, this is the, here we are. We are in Moreno Valley. We are live at the Starbucks off Frederick Street. This is the Hot Seat Roadshow, Donovan Sadiq and Sean 14. And we're going to give you the latest of what's going on in the city of Moreno Valley. So welcome, 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 everybody. Let's get a hand clap out there. As we get the hand clap, thank you. Again, we're going to talk about a lot of topics that's going on. Recently, they have opened up the campaign season and they are doing nominations. So now candidates are now starting to pull their paperwork. Let's see who's going to be running in the different districts. We wish everybody that's running good luck. So kicking it off, how's everything going?
Pretty good. It's been a pretty good week.
All right, cool. Now, let's see. You went to the last study session, and what did you find out in that last study session?
I found out a lot of surprising things about the streetlights, which I would have never even thought of considering before that study session.
Okay.
That Edison is offering a program to buy out the lights, and currently Moreno Valley Utilities is paying less than half the rates that Edison is charging, and I don't understand why they would even consider staying with Edison at all, because right now with the way Edison is running things, they have a $429,000 shortfall for how much the energy bills cost for the streetlights, and that comes out of general fund. But if they switch to all on the marina utilities, just without any new technological upgrade, I think they could be $331,000 under budget potentially.
Okay, and that would be a surplus, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And they wouldn't, and we'd be a surplus instead of taking it out, instead of borrow from the general fund.
General fund. Okay.
And but also in the Edison system, you should still have, even if we get off the Edison grid, the Edison still wants to use wireless technologies for managing the streetlights, and they still want the easement to access them, which I don't see why we should even be using proprietary technology as on streetlights anyways. And something off the shelf would be a lot better.
Would it be cheaper too? A lot better and cheaper?
Yeah, if you're not... non-proprietary stuff is almost always a lot cheaper, and we could use motion sensors to control how often the lights need to be on, because realistically they don't need to be on just when something big passes by.
Right.
Instead of wireless, which wireless networks are getting pretty crowded right now anyways, what if they use like a voice over, data over powered, where it's like you use electrical wires for a network to control the lights? That would be a possibility. But even if we just got off the Edison grid, got our streetlights off the Edison grid, then we would be well on our way to getting back in the black. And right now, the city's talked about upgrading the lights to LEDs for cost savings and environmental friendliness. But the way the tariff structure works right now, any cost savings would go to Edison instead of us, and we'd be saving Edison money.
Wow. So let me ask you, looking at that study session, did it seem like any of the council members even knew what they were looking at or what they were talking about?
They had a lot of questions. It seemed like they were interested, but I didn't think they were familiar with the subject matter yet. I'm not really surprised. I don't think anyone really pays too much attention to streetlights.
Right, yeah. Well, when you got darkness in the city, that's when the criminality actually takes off.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that with the with the motion sensors and computer controls, you could actively use the lights for law enforcement uses, to like light up certain areas, or to turn some areas down if it's not needed as much.
Right.
Like some of the quieter residential communities don't need them on bright all night.
Right, and it could go good in conjunction with the lighting, with the street camera system.
Yes.
As well. So, yeah, like I said, we always we don't look at the whole picture. We look at a part of the picture and end up paying more money in the long run.
Yes.
So in your investigation, how much money could we save over the long period of time?
considering calculating for inflation, I'm getting over the course of by 2036, we could save potentially up to $26 million from the calculations I'm getting. If we could cut our power usage in half, then the potential is up to $40 million over by 2036. And
wow.
That's cumulative, like how much we're saving every year.
Every year as we build up.
Yeah, and even though $40 million is optimistic, there's still room for a lot of savings. And if we bought out the lights and started switching to LEDs, even though that would be like $4 million or $4.6 million, we would get our investment back on that in 5 years, and those lights a lot longer.
Right, exactly. So even though so you're saying basically, even though we are putting money, a lot of LEDs are expensive, so you're paying a lot more money up front.
Yeah.
For itself over a 5-year period and last years and years and years down the road.
Yeah, if they're not on all the time, or if you can turn them down.
Right. Okay. That sounds like a plan. So, is there any reason why the city staff or the city council would not consider? Are they still considering this? Or are they?
It's to be brought back up on the agenda at a later date.
At a later date. Okay, great. And do you think that they're bringing it up back later due to the upcoming elections, maybe, and kind of see who?
I think they'll be bringing it up later because Edison's program to buy out the lights ends on October 27th.
Okay.
27th.
Okay, so basically we have to make a decision.
Yeah.
Or we're going to lose some savings based on that program. Mm-hmm. So, since you've done a lot of research on this, in your opinion, what do you think that the city should do as a resident? Since you know,
I think the city needs to do this because eventually, if we don't do anything and just keep on with business as usual, by 2036, we're going to be running a $0.8 million deficit and funding the streetlights, and
still have no lights and things like that.
Yeah, and since when is the government ever accurate about measuring how much they're over budget? I mean, It's always a lot more than
a lot of techniques and schemes to cover up the shortfalls and things like that. So they're never accurate. That's very, very true. So
yeah.
So okay, great. Now, if we had to talk to somebody about this, who would we contact? Would it be our council person? Would it be somebody at the city staff?
Surprisingly, I had decent luck talking to Molina about this.
Okay.
And he was actually the one that asked one of the city staff members to give me the information on this.
Okay.
And it's quite enlightening, and I hope Molina follows on this. And Gaiba and, Price and Gutierrez weren't there that night. And I don't know. I'd like to think Jemison would follow up on it, but
she's kind of been battled right now, so I think she's kind of distracted with a lot of stuff that's going on in her district. But I'm kind of surprised Molina. Well, I guess Molina would be up on it for the simple fact that he won't have a job in 4 months. Mm-hmm. But I recently heard that he is pulling papers to run for mayor. Yeah. So kudos to him. But again, we were telling him during the WLC, if you push for this strong mayor, you don't have a job, dude. And, it's just sad that in the end, he didn't realize that until it was too late. So
yeah, I would be interested to know why the staff has continued to go with this contract with Edison for so long. I think that would be worth pulling some Freedom of Information Act papers on
and figure it out. Yeah,
because I'm coming up with these statistics based on just the energy cost alone. I'm not maintenance and labor to maintain them and equipment. That's not factored in. This is just on energy cost alone. Right. So what I'm getting from the energy cost looks like it would cover all the deficit by itself.
Okay, cool. Is it possible that we can get a copy of that so that, like, if people go to the page and kind of look at it and say, okay, let me see these numbers in current. So if you're interested in these numbers, we're going to put this up on the page for everybody to see. And if it's something that you think that is a good idea and you save your tax dollars, this is a perfect way to go to city council and the study sessions and say, hey, this is a good plan down the road. Why aren't we doing this in case they want to do something else?
And if someone wants to openly challenge it, that's fine. I mean, we need to come up with ideas. The city council board on ideas. I don't claim to know everything. I don't even claim to have credentials in finance, so let's all talk about this. Let's see if we can come up with something.
Right, exactly. And and that's another thing. Everybody wants everybody to have degrees, and you can have 11, 12 degrees. I've got 11 and 12 degrees, and I still consider myself an uneducated man. So and that's what we got to start doing as a city. There's so many people with great ideas out there, and like I said, I'm looking at these numbers, and it makes sense to me. So why aren't we talking about it? I mean, because I want to save money, because that money in savings we can put over a long period of time to other things, maybe a youth center or
law enforcement is a big one
on
my mind,
on your thing, right? And that's
so the way it is right now, the rich people are getting screwed on their taxes, and the poor people are losing out on opportunities for public safety enhancements.
Right. Like I said, we just spent that bond for the schools, which was a needed situation, and a lot of people's property tax went up. Like some people I've heard went up $800, whatever. But if you got an expensive house, I guess that's going to happen. But I mean, we need to find any savings that we can find anywhere in the city and help the city build its coffers. Because if we don't have a police force that have the tools of what they need, then we don't have a city.
Yeah, because last I heard, the size of our police force that's on the street every day is smaller than I should probably be mentioning.
Right. And I know those numbers too. I went to Chief Altaveras, and I pretty much, let me tell you, it's scary if everybody actually knew how many cops are on shift at any given shifted time. Like I said, Chief Altaveras is doing a impossible job, but he's doing it with the budget and the staff that he has. And that's another reason why the elections are going to be very, very pivotal, because we need to restore the police budget and give them the tools that they need to do their job. Because, and I hate to go off subject, but everybody talks about like police beatings and all this other stuff. And I got like neighbors that say I get harassed by the police. But if our police had money to where they can put body cams on, hey, maybe what you're saying is true, maybe it's not. But until we can have the resources to do that and make the police department have those things, it's your word against his word. So
yeah, and quite frankly, I'd rather people didn't focus on screaming about brutality if it's people that are causing problems in the first place are the reason why we need more cops and all that. Well,
I always tell a lot of my friends and a lot of my family members who have, I have a lot of family members that are, I wouldn't necessarily say lawbreakers, but I guess you would call them troublemakers, and they make a lot of contact with the law. When you've been arrested 16 times, I don't think the problem is the police. That's just my opinion. I mean, I always look at the common denominator, like we used to do in school in math. You look at the common denominator, you say, well, you've been arrested 16 times. Oh, they're harassing me. But out of the 16 times, 15 of the times, either drug paraphernalia or you were caught robbing or, whatever the situation.
And if you're on probation or parole, then the cops have the right to stop you arbitrarily to see if you're keeping up with if you're complying with the terms of your probation or parole.
Right, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Everybody wants to make excuses for not having law and order. And isn't it funny how it seems to me criminals have more rights than people who obey the law. It's phenomenal to me coming out of the military and seeing.
Yeah, California's self-defense laws alone are baffling as far as all the little legal technicalities where it could ultimately become your fault.
Right, absolutely. So it's been this will be the hottest week of the summer. I mean, you've been staying cool? Everything's good?
Yeah, I've been able to stay cool.
Okay, good.
When I step outside, I kind of wonder why I bothered taking a shower before I got ready and went outside, but other than that, I'm staying pretty cool.
Right. Okay, great. Now we're going to go and pay some bills real quick and get back to you guys. This is the Hot Seat Roadshow, and like I told you guys, the biggest thing that is hurting our city is we don't have enough people that have information to make an educated decision. And that's one of the reasons why this show was started, and we're getting people who have an opinion and have more to say than just the 3 minutes at City Council. So we're going to be right back after we pay a few bills, and we'll continue.